Good evening.
Yes, we're live. Okay, how's it going, everybody? This is the Uncanny Omar with
The amazing Amanda.
Whoops.
Yep.
Yep.
Good
Let's
evening.
do that again. Let's do that.
Good
again.
evening, all you minties, and welcome back to another episode of Reelz Talk with your host, the amazing Amanda, and my lovely co-host, the Uncanny Omar.
That's right. We are the one, the only Reelz Talk.
That's right. And we are back, and we are together tonight.
Yes, at a different time than what we usually have been doing. I think we do it on Friday and Wednesdays, but we figured, what's up, Hayden and Tapsy Logic? How's everybody doing?
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Thank you for joining us on this fine day. Hello there, everyone, and good evening to you all.
Yes, good evening, everyone.
Is this the same house? No, this is a green screen. I'm green screening Amanda in.
Exactly, if I moved in. No, we're just visiting since we only live like 10 minutes from each other now.
She does.
Yes.
So today we got a lot to talk about,
Yes.
and then we're also going to be talking about our next show where you can catch us live in case you have missed us. But we have a lot to talk about. We have She-Hulk episodes 2 through 4. We have Rings of Powers episodes 1 and 2, which maybe we should save till last. And then Game of Thrones, the House of the Dragon episode
3.
3.
Since we already had episode 1 and 2 covered from the last previous couple weeks. So we have a couple things to talk about tonight. Excuse me, guys. And I think first thing we'll talk about is She-Hulk.
Let's do the She-Hulk, yeah.
Let's just get She-Hulk out of the way. Not the order my gifts are in, but that's fine. We'll make it work.
We always make it work.
So She-Hulk's episodes 2 through 4. So we didn't get to review 2 and 3 live. After episode 1, we kind of got caught up with House of the Dragon and a few other things. So we didn't get to do those. So let's talk about those really quickly. And then we can talk about the latest episode 4. So 2 and 3, where you kind of are introduced to the after effects of everything that happened in episode 1. Jen is now She-Hulk. In episode 2, she loses her job at the DA's office only to gain a new job at the private law firm, the very law firm that she won her case against, but because of her turning to She-Hulk and the Titania incident, it was a mistrial, so they technically got away with it. But she ends up becoming the head of their superhero law division or superhuman law division.
That's right. So before we go in further, though, I do want to state that we are going to be talking about spoilers.
Yes.
So we're just going to do She-Hulk episodes 2
through 4 spoilers.
Just in case you haven't seen it, not everybody has Disney Plus. I don't think these will ever be released on Blu-ray. I don't know. Blu-ray, I don't know. They're kind of weird right now about things. So
yeah, not a lot of physical media for some of these things getting put out.
So just in case you haven't seen it, spoilers. All right, carry on, Amanda. Ooh, before do you have a YouTube channel?
This is my YouTube channel. The Neighborhood Merc.
She is the one that started this, and I'm her co-host.
Just the Reelz Talk is what I do on Near Mint. I don't have my own channel. No.
What is Amanda's top?
Oh, this?
Corey?
It's the what?
What was the question?
The Fight of Our Lives. It was a shirt that came out during Infinity War. I think it was supposed to be for like a foundation or charity of some kind, and so I had bought it way back when. So it was right between Infinity War and Endgame. These are all the people who survived.
Are we already quoting what's her face?
2 N's and 1 Y, but not where you think.
Oh my God.
Yes. So so She-Hulk in these last 3 episodes is dealing with her new position in the superhero law division. In episode 3, she gets her first client, which is Emil Blonsky, which is the Abomination. And very quickly, we come to realize that everyone is taking a comedic turn in this show.
Yeah.
This show is 100% comedy. There's not a lot of dramatic aspects to it. It is straight up comedic farce of a superhero world. That's the best way I could put that.
So I will go ahead and say, and if you're not a fan of that, then this show is not for you. Because that's all it is. And it feels like every character that's going to show up in here is going to have some kind of comedic tone.
Which means when Daredevil shows up,
he will be
spitting some one-liners and jokes.
So I think like...
which he did in No Way Home, but...
Daredevil?
Well, I'm a really good lawyer. You need a really good lawyer. Those little jokes.
So it is going to be interesting to see how it all plays out with a lot of the guest stars that are coming still. So we're at 4 episodes in. How many episodes is it? 9?
Yes. So we're 4 episodes in. So we have the back half of the episodes, which it looks like we're finally going to get maybe an overarching story. At the end of episode 3, after she's able to successfully get parole for Abomination, she is attacked by a group of men who are wielding some Asgardian weapons. And
the Wrecking Crew, for anybody
that
reads the comics. So you have the Wrecker and Thunderball there, but we don't know who they're working for. One can assume Titania. One can also assume Doctor Doom, but do you really see Doctor Doom making his first MCU? You know how many people would be pissed off at that? Like, just from judging how divisive this show is. My goodness.
That'd be crazy if they decided to premiere Doctor Doom in the MCU on She-Hulk. I don't think that'll happen, but yeah, so we're introduced to the Wrecking Crew, and then episode 4, which is the latest episode, we get a lot more Wong. So Wong appeared in episode 3 with Emil Blonsky, so we realized, why Wong had taken the Abomination to that little fighting ring that we saw in Shang-Chi, and that whole thing kind of comes full circle in this episode. And Wong has to ask for Jen's help this time because she was asking for his help to be a witness to get Emil parole in the last episode. But in this one, it's Wong who needs help because there's a magician, and I know they did this on purpose, named Donnie Blaze. I'm like, is this their way of teasing Ghost Rider, but like not teasing Ghost Rider?
Yeah. Oh, but I had to rewind and put subtitles on because I thought for a second
they said Johnny
Blaze, and I'm like, no, did he? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah. It was. I'm sure that's intentional to some degree to play on a lot of people who've been wanting Ghost Rider in the MCU for a while. Well,
none of the magicians are in the comics, so I don't know if that's like supposed to be for the show or not. Let me take this question really quick, and then we'll come back to you. Omar, not many Omnis. So I do have a list of Omnis that are coming out for sure in October. Right now, they're trying to get with manufacturing and distribution to make sure it happens, no matter who gets chewed out. And it's like a list of 14, and some of them in 2 weeks. So just keep an eye out. And as soon as I get to go ahead and announce them, I will let you all know.
Yeah.
Carry on.
Yeah, no. So episode 4, Wong is trying to get Donnie Blaze to cease and desist using his sling ring. So apparently anyone can just go to Kamar-Taj and study the magic of the mystical magic art.
You figured they would keep a tight lock on those things.
But someone like Donnie Blaze, who apparently just, played around with magic and just used it to like summon his frat brothers for a party, doesn't seem like the kind of person they would give access to Kamar-Taj to. But alas, this is She-Hulk, and this is now the world we're living in. And the reason he does this is because he's trying to watch The Sopranos. And
by the way, not only spoilers for She-Hulk episodes 2 through 4, but also spoilers for The Sopranos. So if you have not seen The Sopranos,
it's over 10 years old, but yeah.
Okay, still just
spoilers
in case,
if you haven't seen it.
You can be pissed off like Wong was.
Yes,
and rightly so. How are you going to just throw that name out there? Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, no. And all of a sudden, this girl appears from a portal. Her name is Madison with 2 N's and a Y, but not where you think.
I can't believe we're talking about that.
And I'm pretty sure her and her friend we see later on are channeling Alexis Shits from Schitt's Creek because they sound just like her the way they talk. All I kept thinking of is like, that's Alexis.
That's the way most girls talk.
No. But that's how she talks. And I was like,
most of the girls
are they channeling her? Are they trying to be her? Anyway, so
wait, this is really important. In episode 2, we do see Hulk take off to go and find his son.
Maybe. Is that we don't know?
That's fanficking.
He jumped on that ship after all.
Snooki from Jersey Shore. Characters like that,
yeah, they have very distinct. Yeah, those kind of girls. Is that?
That's what I meant.
Am I allowed to say that? Yeah, I am. I'm a woman. Okay.
Wait, are you?
And yeah, so
say that? Okay.
So in episode 4. She appears in Wong's apartment. Not only does she ruin the ending of Sopranos for him, but then she tells us
not the ending, but two main character deaths.
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
Oh, it doesn't matter.
Oh, thank you for the super chat,
thank
Bert.
You, Bert.
You can read her name.
Can you believe that Madison revealed that Tony Stark killed Christopher Bradley in an alternate universe? My mind was blown.
Oh, thank you, my brother. Thank you for the super chat, and thank you for the kind words.
Yes, thank you.
That idiot woman was supposed to be Kim Kardashian role.
Kim,
That's a
that
rumor,
would have been
right?
amazing
Oh my
if that
God.
really was.
Yo, Kim
'Cause that makes so
Kardashian
much sense.
is gonna be your new Mr. Fantastic. Calling it now.
That's what we're gonna find out tomorrow in D23.
Maybe.
I hope to God not. So the funny thing is, I love her story when she talks about how she got through the portal after Donnie put her in the portal, and it's like some goat man, and what I imagine to be hell. Is it Mephisto? I don't know, but
it's in the after credits. Did you see it? Like
yeah,
the drawing of the goat.
The drawing. She's a goat named Jason, who just for 6 drops of her blood helped her escape.
Madison's gonna be Ghost Rider, the MCU. Oh Lord.
And so Donnie's pissed off, or not Donnie, but Wong's pissed off about this. So him and Jen try to put a cease and desist on Donnie, and that leads to a really interesting courtroom scene where if Jen is supposed to be a good trial lawyer, she was not doing a good job in this case of proving the point. And because magic has no trademarks, I guess, and they have, they never issued any kind of thing for the sling rings and things like that with the federal government. It's how can you tell him he can't perform this magic? And so as they're investigating it, he's still allowed to perform his magic. So that's not to Wong's liking at all.
So that is one of the stories that is going on. At the same time, Jen is out there dating.
Yes.
And she's on a matcher, I think is what it's called. Matcher?
Yeah, it's their version of Tinder.
Tinder app, right? Yeah. Where you're swiping left and right. She ain't getting no hits. The first dude that she meets is not interested in her, rates her a 6 out of 10. And I cannot believe they made that already. What is wrong with this world?
Oh yeah.
So she decides to. It's weird because it's not catfishing because she really is Jen, right? But in a way, it is a little bit of catfishing that she takes pictures of herself as She-Hulk, and then she gets all these matches, and she goes on some dates. Some of the guys are weird. One of the guys talks about her. Do you think that guy was one of the wreckers?
The one who kept asking her questions about her being like that she was invincible, and did she turn invisible? She was asking all these questions very specific to her powers and what she can and cannot do. There was the other guy who was like, "Oh, you can only bench a ton. I can bench 650. What now? Are you serious?"
Yeah. What a weird.
What a weird date. But then
especially when you're meeting somebody like She-Hulk.
I know.
How why are you gonna?
He's got a one-upper.
No, you don't have to. Well, anyway. And then she finally meets a dude that she's really into.
Yeah, and he wants to listen to her.
Yeah,
He doesn't want to talk about himself. He's a pediatric oncologist. And
wow, you remember that?
Yeah, yeah, and so
he's easy on the eyes and
very attractive man with really big guns.
Yeah, and that's kind of who she takes home until Wong comes in and Hulk blocks her.
And Hulk blocks her because Donnie Blaze is still performing his act because the judge said he could while she was investigating everything. And when he summons this goblin creature out of an egg, which then leads to opening up a portal with a bunch of these goblin creatures. Now they're in this theater creating chaos. Wong shows up and pretty much says, if I fix this for you, you're going to stop doing this. And of course, Donnie's like, yes. And so he gets Jen, he portals her in, and they have this fight scene where she's, slinging all these little goblin bats at Wong as he's trying to fix the portal and then get them out into wherever he's putting them. I'm not really quite sure.
I thought that was the same mountain where Wanda was.
I thought that was Mount too, which is hilarious. Why would they end up there?
Wonder God.
Exactly. And so they eventually are able to come to an agreement and fix the problem. And then she goes back to her date. I'm assuming have some amazing sex. One can assume.
I thought they stayed up all night playing cards.
Oh yeah, but then in the morning,
people do.
But in the morning when he wakes up, she's back to being Jen, and that's not what he wants, and he leaves. So, and she doesn't even have time to be disappointed because as soon as he leaves, a guy comes to serve her papers because Titania, which we all saw from the first episode, and of course we knew she was going to come back eventually and be, I would assume, one of her main antagonists. She is an influencer who's now gone out of jail and now is suing her for a She-Hulk trademark. And that is where the episode ends, but not without an end credit scene of Wong and Madison watching This Is Us, which is a Disney property because they own ABC, right?
Oh, is that what they were watching? Okay.
Yeah, they're watching This Is Us. Oh, Mandy Moore, I mean, was in there.
Walk to Remember.
And Milo Ventimiglia.
Carry on.
And she's asking Wong like what he has to drink in and what he's had to drink before, like if he like gin and tonic man, and if he likes vodka and goat milk, I think is what he said that he or yak's milk. So
gross.
Yeah, gross. But
Jen gets lucky in both her new issue this week.
Oh, good for her.
Well, I was gonna say that is really She-Hulk the comic.
That's what she does.
With John Byrne and Dan Slott, she was hooking up with superheroes left and right, and also being a trial lawyer and also being a superhero. So I'm seeing a little bit of everything, with the exception of superhero. Right? We get a lot of lawyer, we get a lot of Gen time, and we get a lot of
random
things.
It's cameo time,
but no real like superhero things happening. Which is weird because that's what made the comic really great, was that balance. So this really does feel like a completely different show than anything else that Disney Plus or Marvel has done
so far.
Yeah. And I can see why people don't like it. I understand.
It's very grounded in like just being in the real world of the MCU without a lot of there's superhero elements to it. I mean, her and Wong have many fight scenes here and there. But there hasn't been anything epic. I mean, even with Hawkeye, which was set in the real world in New York City, there's still that superhero element of the, going through trying to do the spy thing of looking for who's behind what's going on, and then the big fights and things like that. But you don't really get to see her fight, and you don't get to see a ton of her lawyering. I mean, she does lawyer a lot in here, but not quite as much as I expected. It's more about her life.
Right.
A lot of it is about like her life and the outside interactions, right?
And which you expect in a first season. And not to compare it to something like Daredevil, because Daredevil was a lawyer, or is a lawyer, and also a superhero.
He has more time per episode too.
So but his first season was a complete origin, but this is a comedy. Whether you find it funny or not,
and a sitcom that's 30 minutes.
Right. That's completely up to you, but it is labeled a sitcom comedy. So this is really weird, because with this and Rings of Power, I'm in the middle of a lot of things, and I can see why people don't like a lot of the things here, and I can see why people don't. And we'll get to Rings of Power here in a little bit.
Yeah.
But I thought the first episode was fun. Yes, I can see why people were upset with
some of the comments.
The what is considered man bashing, and if you dissect it, I guess. Yes, there's a lot of that going on. But then again,
people don't hear women talk on a regular basis, do they?
Well, no, I also was not the target audience for things like Ally McBeal and shows like that. And although I do love me some Sex in the City, and it kind of reminds me of that.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it.
In a way.
We have a women-centric show with female friends, we have strong opinions about men, and that's just how it is. And I'm sure men have strong opinions about women. I've watched The Hangover. I'm not dumb.
Okay, not everybody is like The Hangover.
I'm just saying. Oh, I love those movies. Or just the first one. The rest of them sucked. The first one was it.
But there's a scene here, and it reminds me of
in what episode?
In episode 4, where she's talking about having a guy back at home, and what did she say? Something along the lines of like he's a really good looking guy, or a really hot guy. Not that matters, but it really does help. Something like that. And what's funny is that I'm like, damn, Tony Stark couldn't say that these days. Like if Tony Stark was saying, yeah, I got a fine chick at home and she's good looking. Not that it matters, but it does help. But it really does, or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, switching the roles around. And I think that's what people get upset about, the double standards. And I understand. I get it. But also, maybe it's their moment to shine, right? Not women, but superhero women.
Yeah.
Because we've had
sex relationships too, just like the men.
Oh, wait, you went right to the sex. I meant just in general, talking about it. But like I said, I've seen shows like this before. It kind of reminded me a little bit of Sex and the City, but I guess it should be like Ally McBeal, but I think I watched a couple with a girlfriend I had at the time, and that was it. That was the only reason.
Yes.
Dude, are you okay, Chris? We are now blood brothers, right? I did not like The Hangover. Not my kind of comedy. I like raunchy, but
So you didn't like the Wedding Crashers?
Witty. We've talked about this. I'm not gonna
Nope.
hurt your feelings.
I know.
Online. Y'all need to meet some real men. My buddy Project Viking, where they at? He's Canadian. One of the She-Hulk dates was a former WWE wrestler who was married to Jennifer Hudson.
Was it the guy who was...
the big guy then, right? The big guy. The guy that was
unless it's the middle guy. Unless it was the middle guy, and I'd be like really shocked. But then...
I assume it's... Okay, that's stereotypical.
Yeah, it is. Right. It would be
was...
Brian, is it the first one?
So
we're not being stereotyping. Is it the first one?
He was like, I can bench press 600 pounds, and I'm not a superhero.
650.
Okay, my bad. We're not here to correct us. So let's talk about the show overall. Yeah. I had a lot of fun with the first episode. Episodes 2, 3, and 4, they're okay. I didn't find them funny as I did some of the stuff in the first episode. I don't like everybody trying to be funny because I think some characters have better comedic timing. Because I feel like in a show like this, you kind of need a straight man too to play off of. And if Wong is your straight man, well, if I was going to say, if Wong is your straight man and they're giving him quippy lines, then
even her dad has funny lines.
That guy's from Perfect Strangers.
I know.
He gets a pass.
I love he comes with the shovel. He's like, he wants to protect his daughter, who's a superhero. Mm-hmm. But yeah, even he has funny one-liners. Yeah. Everyone has a gimmick these days.
So, and then the CG is just...
Oh, I can't.
Man, how did
what's so interesting is I haven't watched it yet, but Pinocchio just came out today too on Disney because it's Disney Plus Day, guys. Hey, happy Disney Plus Day.
Pinocchio came out in 1940. What are we talking about?
They made a live action remake with Tom Hanks as Geppetto.
Okay.
I didn't know if you knew that, but they did. Robert Zemeckis is the director.
Isn't Guillermo del Toro doing this?
No, he's Robert doing a different one.
Back to the Future, Robert Zemeckis.
Yes. From what the reviews I've read, I don't know how you didn't know about that. But
I don't even know what I'm looking up right now.
But the reviews I've read is that the CGI is really terrible. And given that we are 4 episodes in on She-Hulk, and I also can't get over the CGI, I'm still having issues with it, especially on She-Hulk herself. And it's like, is Disney overworking their visual artists? I don't blame the visual artists to a degree because they're working their hardest, but what kind of deadlines do they have?
I'll tell you what happened.
What kind of deadlines do they have?
Amazon walked in and said, hey, all you visual artists, come with us. We got a project called The Lord of the Rings.
And HBO said, we got some dragons we need to work on.
Dude,
and then they brought the money.
I really feel like...
Honestly, that's what happened,
okay,
right?
It's David Otunga is the guy's name.
It's the first guy, yeah.
Look how soon people forget Twerkgate. Oh yeah, that's the internet, right? As soon as the next episode comes along, let's go and talk about that.
Yeah.
And it is funny though, like how when I meant earlier, like how divisive this show is. People that aren't even watching it, they just watch their favorite YouTubers review it and then start quoting them, are still invested in this show for some reason. That's so weird to me because if I don't like something, I don't watch it. And hence why I did not watch Hangover Part 2 and 3. I'm sure they were just as good as 1, but no, thank you.
They were worse. They were terrible.
Okay.
Some things don't need sequels or trequels.
Daredevil's going to say many people fear the devil, but I dare to be the devil to some knowing. Oh, corny dance. All right, you. Amanda,
yeah. So obviously She-Hulk should be the target audience, right? Young, female.
Well,
I mean, okay.
Definitely 2 of those.
Just young and female or target audience? Anyways, but I have a lot of problems with the humor in it. And it's not that I like humor and I like Marvel quipping and I like comedic shows, but I'm not sure the humor is working for me and that I find it funny.
Okay.
And I love female empowerment stuff. I've just binge watched another lawyer show on Netflix called The Partner Track, which is about a female lawyer who is trying to make her way in a man's world. And I found it a lot more engaging than She-Hulk. And they don't have superheroes in that movie or TV show. And it's not a property I love. It's an unknown thing I never heard of.
What is this?
It's called The Partner Track. No one here probably watched it but me.
Are we reviewing that?
What's happening? I'm just saying, but when I'm thinking about like, if it's trying to be something to some people, it's not meeting my expectation of that. Of being this like quirky female comedy sitcom half hour. It's not meeting my expectations of that because I'm not finding the humor. I'm not enjoying it as much as I wanted to enjoy it, I guess is what it comes down to.
Mm-hmm. And don't get me wrong. I still think it's fun.
it's fun, but it's not like it's not like I'm eager to watch every episode. Does that make sense?
Yeah. But let's go back to the comedy aspect of things, though, because I honestly haven't laughed at a movie in a long time. There are things that make me laugh from time to time, but it's been years since I have laughed at a movie.
Yeah.
And maybe Mel Brooks retired at a right time, because it feels like we can't make movies like that anymore.
You can't make.
So it is really difficult to make comedy, I think. A lot of people are restricted to what they can say, what they can't say. So that takes a lot of the comedy element out of it. And that goes into a deep rabbit hole as to what one defines as comedy and what you think is funny, because it's all objective, right? Like,
it's very subjective.
Some people might find things a lot funnier than I do. Some people might find, well, like the twerking thing, right? The twerking thing, while it didn't bother me, I didn't find it funny. And I like Megan Thee Stallion, but it's interesting to see how many people were like, I can't believe
she holds up here twerking.
No, the best one was like Stan Lee would be rolling over in his grave. Stan Lee wrote Stripperella. He ain't rolling over in his grave, dude. He'd be proud of that scene.
Apparently, a lot of creators are rolling in their graves.
Oh, yeah. That's what people like to say.
Yeah, thank you for the super chat,
bro. Yes, I cannot wait for Cobra Kai. Dude, and what's funny is that the, what's his name? So back to Stan Lee. Stan Lee would have been twerking with Megan Thee Stallion and She-Hulk. Who's Todd Phillips?
Todd Phillips is the director of Hangover, who also did the Joker.
Shut up, Matt. Oh, may the Schwartz be with you. Thank you. Now that's comedy.
Yeah.
Now Kim Kardashian wants to be in the MCU. Well,
yeah, we know.
God bless her.
Yeah,
she's going to be our Fantastic Four. Never heard about that Thee Stallion. Not going to look her up. Oh, dude. I mean, well,
you haven't heard some of her songs?
I'm a fan of her music videos.
No, music videos. Yeah, a different thing.
She's a very talented lady.
Yeah.
She is for real a good rapper, though.
No, she is a great rapper.
For real a good rapper. Like, I'm not even joking.
No.
John Byrne had her jumping rope nude. Absolutely. So I don't see why people are tore up about that. But that is my.
About her. Oh,
yeah. Seriously.
It was cute. That doesn't bother me at all. That doesn't bother me at all. I just,
So you're not digging the humor either, huh?
No, I'm not digging the humor as much as I want. And I want She-Hulk to be funny. I want it to be, and I feel like they're trying too hard to make it funny instead of letting it happen more naturally. And maybe that's why it's an issue for me. Mm-hmm. But I do wish that maybe not everyone was fun. Maybe the problem is they need a straight man. And maybe that's the reason why I'm finding like, it's just jokes everywhere.
Yeah. And it's coming from everyone.
Because I was trying to think like, so I love Fleabag, right? And she does a lot of that to the camera. I don't know if anyone's seen Fleabag here, but it's a great, wonderful.
But that has
show.
a lot of drama, right?
Has drama.
That's not your typical.
But her sides and stuff are very much what Jen does in this show. And I'm still getting used to her sides. It's like not. I don't know if it's not connecting with me, working for me, her sides that she does to the audience.
Her breaking the
fourth walls as much as
I like it.
You like the fourth walls?
I think she's
she's explaining how the show would work. Yeah. Like, I'm sure you'll get a great end credit scene. This is a bummer way to end the episode. I did like that.
I like that when she's like, hey, whose show is this?
Yeah, she's like, this is a good
You guys like Wong? Oh, man, yeah.
Well, everyone does love Wong.
Okay.
There's no doubt about that.
So let's, because we got a lot to talk about.
We do, and we have 2 episodes of only 1 episode of Game of Thrones.
Wobsonation of the MCU is imminent. May this darkness not come to pass. Bring on the WAP.
There's some booze in this. Okay.
Easy now.
Yes.
We don't want to get demonetized.
Is that going to demonetize? Oh, because if I start singing it.
Yeah.
I still got to figure out how that works.
Because you sound just like it.
Curtis, hold on, wait, last thing. Curtis, I think you have brought up a really good point, because when I was talking about the humor that worked for me, I felt the same. That's how Love and Thunder. It was like, we talked about that in our review, nonstop jokes with little time to let the drama, which there was a lot of drama in Love and Thunder, breathe. The fact that he got, like, Gore is a very deeply sad and angsty character.
He lost his wife and child.
So, maybe it's just like we're coming off of that, which is also on Disney Plus now for Disney Plus Day. So if you guys want to watch Love and Thunder, you can watch it on Disney Plus.
You are a walking ad. You're not hired by Disney. For anybody that has watched this show, and us.
Oh yeah.
What would you give this out of 10?
Are we talking about episodes 2 through 4?
Let's just go ahead. Yeah, let's do 1 through 4.
Okay.
What do you think about it so far? Including we praised. I think I gave it an 8.5.
I gave it an 8. But I think right now I
liked it more than you did.
I think I'd probably give it a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, it's dropped down a little
overall
bit
for the season. I'm hoping that this latter half we'll start getting some, instead of just one-off episodes of the guest star of the week, we'll have more consistent storylines to really let Jen grow
Very
as
episodic.
She-Hulk, right? I want to see Jen grow as She-Hulk. Because I see a lot of that potential there of issues she's dealing with of coming together as She-Hulk versus Jen Walters. And so let's start to explore that a little bit more and not bring in so many of the guest stars. Though I know we're getting Matt Murdock soon.
How did we not mention this? Morbius is now on Netflix.
Oh boy. I'm gonna go watch that and then rewatch House of Dragon for my Matt Smith fix.
You gave it a 7. You could watch Doctor Who,
True, or The Crown.
7.5
first season. Yes.
7.5.
7. No, 7.
7. Yeah, I think I'm along those lines. I think the show has gotten it took a dip for me. And because the comedy side is just not clicking with me. So if you're enjoying that, then good for you all. That's awesome. About 6 out of 10. I think it's fair. I like her, and we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, we have 5 more episodes, and I think the main problem for me is on our last note is it's just the
She-Hulk, brother, 1 through 4.
1 through 4. I think it's just the size of the episodes. I mean, they're not even right. A 30-minute episode. I don't know if I like the short episodes. To really.
Well, I mean, can you imagine it being longer? Is it going to help?
You mean a whole hour of Megan Thee Stallion? No, I don't know.
I would have been. Good
I don't know.
I like that better than
maybe not with the current storylines we've seen, but maybe as we go on, maybe perhaps a longer.
Yeah. So let me see what we got here in the chat. We got 6 out of 10, high mid, 7 out of 10. It's very fun, but not all the jokes land. I agree. I hated Thor 4. Welcome to the club, Mac. 7 out of 10. I know some people, when we were reviewing it, really liked Thor 4, though. 7 or 8 out of 10
it's not even
for the inclusion
top
of
10
Wong.
of the year. I mean, it did not do
well. Isn't the rumor that he is off for the next movie?
Yeah, that's the rumor right now.
It's not confirmed, right?
Yeah.
6 out of 10. 8 out of 10. Topsy Logic really likes magicians. Can't be Wong. That's
a great
7 out of 10. Sometimes the humor works, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
And if you're enjoying it, keep on enjoying it. Lovely, thick, green. 8 out of 10.
Because there's plenty.
Might have to put it on when we get back from watching Barbarian tomorrow.
There we go. What's Barbarian? Oh, is it a new movie that came out, right, Sarah? I believe.
Is it a Conan movie?
No. Oh gosh.
Solid 7 out of 10.
Someone as famous is in it, and I can't remember. I'll look it up.
Look at hated. I knew Madison would be your chick, man. 7 twerking stat. It's
a Barbarian is a horror mystery film with Bill Skarsgård. There we go.
Oh, that guy's famous.
Justin Long's in it too. Dang.
Okay, that guy's uber famous.
Yeah.
I did like him in The Northman. That was excellent.
Yes.
Horror movie. You had me at horror. I'm so backed. I almost said backed up. I'm not backed up. I am so swamped on everything else that's going on.
There's so many movies I have to see. Yeah.
I still haven't seen Nope. And I've been wanting to see.
I know it's gonna be out on to
like what the heck, man?
No,
5 out of 10 for dummy thick. 7.5 out of 10. What if Madison gets her? Oh, it's coming. She's gonna be.
She'll have some shorts.
Look, it's gonna be Kim Kardashian is Mr. Fantastic, and Madison's gonna be your Human Torch. Oh, we are casting them. Solar opposites is where it's at. Terry and Korab are my favorite TV couple. Thank you so much, Project Viking. Madison and Wongers are going to be the next. Please stop there. Please stop.
Hey, Wongers.
Oh my God, kill me now. That's the humor that I don't like. Oh, all right. Next up, let's talk about House of the Dragon, and we can wrap it up.
Yes, House of the Dragon. Where's our banner? We will be talking about some spoilers, guys.
Episode 3, in case you haven't seen it, don't have HBO, or come back for Rings of Power.
Yeah, so let's talk about the opening of House of the Dragons. Episode 3.
Awesome.
I've got it.
What did you find?
It's David Got No Time for You. This poor guy. So obviously it starts out with Daemon and Lord Corlys have gone to war with the crab feeder at the Stepstones, and we have this amazing opening scene. I love this gift or this meme.
Yep.
And
I know what you mean.
So there's this gentleman who is a Westerosi warrior, and he's about to be basically crucified and getting eaten by crabs, but then Prince Damon shows up with his dragon, and this guy's yelling, "Here, my prince! Yay!" He's so excited, and then the dragon lands straight on top of it. It just kills him. What a way to start an episode, man! Let me tell you what.
I that episode. I'm enjoying this show. Maybe we should have saved this till last.
Yeah,
because I think this is my favorite show.
That all I have are memes to talk about how amazing Matt Smith is as David Targaryen.
Oh my gosh,
it's really hard to hide like how much I'm enjoying this show. Yeah. It's really hard to hide. But let's quickly go over what happened. So, guys, this show is moving fast. Okay. Last episode, 6 months had passed. This episode, 3 freaking years has passed. Yeah. So clearly they're, we know, if you've read articles, if you've seen IMDb, you know a time jump will come and a few young actors will be replaced with older actors, which is a shame because I'm really liking the younger actors. But time is moving quickly. They were clearly wanting to get to a certain point in the history of these characters, and that's where they're going to focus because they're moving through this super fast. But 3 years.
But unlike not Lord of the Rings,
Game of Thrones.
Unlike the original Game of Thrones, I mean, look how long it took Ned Stark and Robert to go from Winterfell to freaking King's Landing
to leave.
They're just walking, and I think it was like 4 or 5 episodes he gets there.
Yes.
And the crows to reach, and here's like 3 years later, and we don't even have a narrator saying 3 years later. You just better pay attention and keep up.
Yes.
You're like, oh, the baby. Oh, the baby's 3?
The baby's 2.
And she's pregnant with another baby?
So they got married, and within that, then they have a year of her, being able to get pregnant, getting pregnant, have the baby. So then now she's pregnant again.
Yeah. And meanwhile, Damon is dealing with the crab feeder.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And failing because the crab feeder and his troops are hiding out in a cave, essentially.
Yeah.
Like keeping them at bay. So they're failing at keeping the stepstones. And meanwhile, Viserys, because he is the king that, since he didn't authorize the going to war, he has not wanting to send any troops to help Daemon and Lord Corlys. As far as he's concerned, what they're doing is going against anything he has recommended. And so he wants no part of it. He just wants to enjoy his son, Prince Aegon II, his name day. They're going to go have a hunt. It's going to be exciting. And
what a sad hunt that was.
What a sad hunt. And
you remember what happened to Robert Baratheon, though, during his hunt.
Because,
you know. Oh, you know.
Oh, yeah, I'm ready.
You were ready.
I'm ready. Yeah, okay. Because only Princess Rhaenyra can survive a boar attack, not...
Because she had my dude there from what's it called?
Kristen Cole.
That dude was awesome, man.
But meanwhile, so while they're doing this, you have Rhaenyra who's hanging out at the tree.
What was this? I thought that was Ed Sheeran again.
So basically, this is what they do in Westeros when you know Spotify. She just gets her bard to play songs on repeat for her when she's down and depressed, and she doesn't want him to stop. That's her Spotify. Is this poor man singing the same song over and over again?
Yeah, I thought we were gonna get somebody there like we had Ed Sheeran in the freaking Game of Thrones episode.
I was kind of glad it wasn't that though. But yeah, so basically,
I gotta ask a question, and let's not spoil the book.
Yeah.
But how much of the book are they planning to cover in this first season if we're jumping ahead this much? Because it's only one book, right? We're not talking about 5
but
books.
the book isn't it's more of a history, so it's not like the book's more of a history, so it's not very much. It's not told in a dramatic fashion that really lays out. So there's a lot of stuff that's covered in this book, a lot of years that spans this book.
Okay.
To where it ends. So,
the book covers 140 years.
Yeah.
Oh, so all the way to the time when Daenerys was born? Is that what the book covers? Without going into spoilers, please. What if they put Megan Thee Stallion in?
Oh. Now that just would take me right out of it.
No. I'm out.
Because I don't think she could put on the.
Who is it that takes me out of? Oh, Flea from.
Flea took you out of
everything.
Obi-Wan
Back to
Kenobi.
Obi-Wan Kenobi and Back to the Future too.
Yeah, poor Flea.
Jack Ferry, thank you so much, my brother. Galadriel versus Damon.
Thank you for that super chat.
Damon. Sorry, I'm enjoying
the man's ruthless.
I'm enjoying that show more.
Yeah,
and it's probably picking favorites. The first episode was 3 paragraphs. Really?
See, that's crazy,
right?
They
have a lot.
There's a lot to cover.
Centaur, they missed that on that.
Yeah.
I'd watch that. They don't have centaurs. What are we talking about?
No, they don't exist. Yeah, so
time jump doesn't work when the 2 teenage girls look exactly the same. All I can say is keep watching.
Keep watching.
Something stupid happens that I got spoiled for me. Not you. Somebody
Someone
else.
else.
Or no, it was me looking at IMDb. Don't look at IMDb.
Don't look at IMDb if you don't want to be spoiled, and don't read any of the millions of articles that are being written right now about the show, because it will be spoiled for you.
No, from Aegon's conquest to about 140 years after, so still about 150 years before Game of Thrones.
It didn't start with King Viserys. He's kind of like somewhere in the. Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah, but still, it's a good chunk of.
This is amazing, Rick. You should watch this with us. The War of the Stepstones is like a sentence. That's freaking awesome.
And in the scheme of things, it does feel like a sentence in the
All
show, because
quick.
I really thought that Craig Jahar, or the crab feeder, I thought he would be in it more. So for him to be,
he didn't even get a death scene.
To the end. Yeah, he didn't even get a death scene. For him to die.
That scene was badass though, when Daemon was like heading there, arrow shot at him, knowing that nobody's coming for him. He's on a suicide mission at that.
Well, he's basically like, when he's like, oh, you're gonna come now and help me. He's like, hold my purse. I'm gonna do it myself. Like, that's what he basically was saying.
That's what he said.
That's what he said. Hold my purse. All right, hold my purse. I'm gonna do it myself. Okay. That's exactly what Daemon Targaryen said. So that was the big climactic part of this episode. But the main part of the episode is really still this discussion around who's going to be heir after Viserys passes away. He now has a son. So one would think, even though he named Princess Rhaenyra the heir,
and she still is at this point,
and he defends that he made that choice, and are people trying to question the king's choice? And of course, everyone's like, oh, no, not at all, right? So they're not trying to question that point at all. But even he, and you could tell in many conversations he has with Otto Hightower, with Lord Lionel, with and with his own wife, Princess Rhaenyra's former best friend, Alicent.
Whoa, people in the chat smoking crazy stuff. Rings is way more interesting. Oh, interesting. This is where we might differ, and this is where Amanda and I might differ in opinion, because I'm curious what she thinks.
We haven't talked about Rings of Power yet.
This is it's weird to go from a show like Game of Thrones, which, like I mentioned, time is so slow. Episodes move slowly. You get, like I mentioned, the whole trek from Winterfell to freaking King's Landing in season 1 was 3 episodes, I think. I was exaggerating, but like 3 episodes. But in those 3 episodes, you get these wonderful character moments of like Robert and Ned talking about their younger days. And you get a little bit of clues as to who Ned was and the girl that he wasn't mentioning. Things like that, like character development you miss out on when shows slow down. And I don't think we have a lot of that here. We have characters interacting left and right.
Yes.
But it's almost like, it almost feels like a play, right? Like the curtains drop. Years pass.
Yes.
It's time to move on.
Yes.
Whereas Game of Thrones felt natural, like a natural progression of characters. So I hope that, I don't know how they're going to do the rest of the show, but I really hope it slows down. So yeah, I'm enjoying it though. I'm enjoying the hell out of this show.
Yeah,
it's a welcome back to Game of Thrones. I'd forgotten how much I did not like the last season of Game of Thrones,
and this really is making up for a lot of what the last season of Game of Thrones was all about. Because last season of Game of Thrones moved really fast. Remember how we don't talk about
the last season on this channel
one episode
anymore.
They're here, the next they made it to the wall, and you're like, how the hell did they get there so fast? But yes, magical time travel in a magical world and a fictional world. But
dude, how badass was that? I was watching it with my wife, and she was like, "Is he leaving?" And I'm like, "That's pride, man. He'd rather go out there in a little rowboat, than wait for his brother to come help him." But
then to watch, Lord Corlys and his son Laenor back him up, and I forgot that Laenor is also a Targaryen because his mother is Rhaenys, the queen who never was. So he also has a dragon, sea snake. And that dragon was awesome, coming in there and taking out all of the crab feeders, archers and stuff. Mm-hmm. That was a pretty awesome scene. So that the last half of it was, that was the Game of Thrones a lot of people are always, wanting to see. And Matt Smith just freaking kills it, man. Yeah. I cannot speak enough about that man.
I am very happy with the cast in this.
Me too.
Rhaenyra, her dad.
I love Millie Alcock. Yes,
they have grown on me.
Patty is
my dude Hightower, who's always phenomenal at everything.
Bryce Easton. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's great, and he's he's doing a really good job of. I love how he even suggested that he should marry his own daughter off to his own her own half brother,
Creepy.
which is super creepy. But that is the Targaryens, right? And we wouldn't, really, they wouldn't bat an eyelash at it, even though Viserys is like, he's 2 years old.
2 years old.
But I love, like, I'm still trying to figure out where Lord Lionel, like, he offers a lot of good advice to King Viserys, and I like how he talked about his suggestion of her marrying Lord Lionel or Lord Corlys's son, which is still a relation to hers, a little bit, but whatever. And we get to see that boy later on because he's the one with his father at the war table. And then again, you see him riding the sea snake. So we already could see that we're going to be seeing more of him. We also get Jason Lannister. So we get the Lannisters.
The Lannister twins, right?
Yeah, exactly. So we can see the Lannister twins, which is awesome to see a little bit of that.
And see, this is something that I was talking about a little bit earlier. Whenever Rhaenyra and I'm so sorry, what is the knight's name?
Kristen Cole.
Kristen,
yeah.
Okay. Whenever they're writing out and they're talking, you've seen that in those 3 years they've developed a kinship, some kind of relationship, the way they're talking to each other. So I feel like that's things like that is what you're missing. Is it important in the long run? Probably not, especially if we're talking about a giant war that's coming. But I actually appreciate that because that's how you get to know characters, and that's how you get to, develop your not crushes, but like interest in these characters. But so far, this show has been killing it. What did we ended up reviewing episode 1 and 2?
Yes.
Is there anything else you wanted to talk about? I feel like
I still have more gifts. I've got like he could zigzag the arrows, but
oh wow, you went that poor child, that poor kid.
Which ones do I got?
Oh, keep going.
What does this one say? Oh.
House of the Dragon was recently hospitalized for urgent treatment due to severe back. You nerd.
Caught by the burden of carrying the entire
season. You did not.
Oh, I love this one. There's Penny, and then there's David Targaryen taking out a whole army by himself because he didn't let his brothers help.
Dude, that's what I was like. Holy crap. That's beyond petty.
What's the other one? What's this one that I've got? Oh, once upon a time, everyone hated it. Yes, that is true. There was
no. Everyone hated Matt Smith's casting as the Doctor.
Yeah,
he followed up David Tennant,
and everyone loved David Tennant. I love David Tennant, but then
Matt Smith killed it, man. He killed it.
Yes, I got to meet him while he was the Doctor. It was phenomenal. Oh, also, hey guys, pugs are in Westeros. In case you didn't know, I thought that was
weird.
I know a lot of people got a kick out of that.
Good eye.
Yes, and
don't forget to smash that like button. Pretty pleased that this go.
Yeah, I think so. Oh, well, this is a good one. So I don't know if you guys realize.
I like that you kept Jack Ferry. Did we answer him?
Yeah,
you kept this question up there the entire time.
Yes, Otto Hightower was the lizard in Amazing Spider-Man 1. That's
so apparently there's a new Black Adam trailer.
There is a new Black Adam trailer. Is everyone talking about? Yeah.
Believe it's coming. The Witcher needs to look like House of the Dragon. So here's the only issue I've had with House of the Dragon, and that is the locations.
Yes, I agree.
I really would. That what made Game of Thrones stand out. Yes. What made Game of Thrones stand out are the physical locations they would go to. When my family and I visited Spain and France, we went to a couple of the actually Dragonstone. It's not, they of course CG'd a lot of Dragonstone, but the steps are there and the castle. It's just really cool to see that, and for them to use those locations. Now it could be limited because of COVID, I assume.
I'd have to assume they couldn't use as much, be on location as much because of COVID.
Yeah.
In order to keep with their timetables, they probably had to do more CGI.
But I am enjoying the hells out of this show. Enjoying the hell out of this show. I can't wait for episode 4. It's good to be back in Westeros, and it's good to see a show people are excited about. I saw a video of people. It's an apartment complex where people were watching Game of Thrones at the same time as soon as HBO released it, and somebody was filming from the outside. And it was really cool to see all the lights going on at the same time. The HBO logo. Yeah. So cool. So it's nice to see people at bars again, like watching Game of Thrones together, because it is something special. It's what we did. So yeah, 9.5 out of 10. This episode was great.
Wait, where's there a magic carp?
What?
I don't know. But there's
what are we talking about? What are we talking about?
That's Pokemon. Anyways,
I know what Pokemon.
9.5 out of 10 for me. I'll almost give it a 10 out of 10. Some of the middle parts might have been a little slow for me
And then
at the hunt, but
whereas other shows,
I am glad she saw the white stag though, and not the king.
And one more thing that I do appreciate and respect about this show is that while other shows are kind of backtracking on comedy and the things they talk about and can show, HBO reminds you you're watching an HBO show. Look at all the violence. Look at all the nudity. Look at all the sex. Look at all the weird things we can get away with, including incest with like kids, and they're not shying away from any of that.
Yeah, because we have to remember Allison Hightower was 14 when her and Viserys married. So, yeah, he had sex with an underage girl. Like, that's what happened. Like, I mean, that's what it is. But it was the time, right?
No,
I mean,
that time, it's not real. None of that is real. It's a fantasy world.
Well, if you were in medieval Europe, that would probably be.
Oh, is that what you think this is based on?
War, yes.
But that's our review for this particular episode. What would you all give it out of 10 if you've seen it? And Mr. DC Comics, do you not think I know the Cobra Kai new season's tomorrow? What would you all give this episode out of 10?
Yeah, I don't know what Omar's going to watch first. The announcements from D23 for Marvel or
do
Cobra Kai?
Do you not know how much I love Cobra Kai? Oh my gosh.
I'll be watching all of it.
We'll be watching Cobra Kai, and I'll be waiting for your text messages to tell me.
Max Appleman, House of the Dragon is the whitest show I've ever seen. Speaking of R.I.P. Queen Lizzie, yes, the Queen has passed away today. So,
in other news,
our condolences to the royal family, and
if they're watching,
but it's crazy that woman, spanned along this.
Yeah, we ain't shying away. This is HBO, baby.
Yeah, even a C-section, they don't cut away from anything. 9.5 for Matt.
Crazy Dragons and Crazy Battle. You'd still have 10 from David.
8 from Josh.
Josh is enjoying it.
Oh, 8 out of 10. Crabs fan.
Matt gave it a 9.5.
Yeah, human eating crabs is still creepy to me. 8.5 out of 10 is James.
Did you say human? Oh, I thought you meant humans eating crab. Is creepy to you. I'm like, you ain't been crab. A Red Lobster?
6 out of 10.
Stepstone's battle goes for 3 years. Can't beat crab feeder due to caves. Damon now rows a boat over.
It's a great
he gets
question.
Hit by arrows. Then 500 souls. Dude, that's how badass he is. Why didn't they do that the last 3? Because he needed that last push, right? The last push was his brother's love letter to him.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's all you need, right? Your family to piss you off to go out and fight a freaking crab feeder.
Yes. Project Viking says missing a Fing Fang Foom out of 10.
Ain't happening. Fing Fang Foom wears boxer shorts.
Hayden gave it a 4 out of 10. It's fine, like Thrones after season 5 was just fine.
It's just fine, Hayden. Is that what we're doing? It's just fine. It's only the best show on television until Friday. Cobra Kai comes back, baby.
Best House of the Dragon.
We should do best of 2022.
Oh, we will do that.
Okay,
I'm excited to do like of TV shows and movies.
Yeah.
It's a shame that No Way Home came out in 2021.
Begins Saturday at 1 p.m. The Marvel
Thank you for that. We'll be watching that.
I'll be
That's
after my show, my live show.
Good, I won't be driving up to New York yet, so I'll be able to do that. So
in the book, Dany was 13 when she was sold to Drogo. Right.
And
the ages of the Stark children were different too. I remember they were 12.
They aged them up a little bit, in the original Game of Thrones.
Yeah. Because
and of course they're older actresses. It's not like they're 14. Like those are girls in their 20s, so it's not
What's Cobra Kai? Somebody ban that guy.
Oh, Josh.
Who's an admin? Ban that guy. 8 out of 10, not enough incest. I like that answer. 8.5. 8.5. Are you from West Virginia or Kentucky? 8.5 from Roberto Rodriguez. Rest in peace to Queen Elizabeth II. She was a Game of Thrones fan. Was she?
Well, considering that some of this came from inspiration from her houses many, long time ago.
With the power of pettiness, I will defeat the crab. Primal is the best show. Look at you. You're really pushing that show. Saw the trailer for Cobra Kai. It was hilarious. I have yet to check it out. Dude, you ain't watched it? And you know how much you like Top Gun? Yes. Go and watch Cobra Kai. Because Cobra Kai shows you that there are two sides to every story, right? Like you got, how do I put this without ruining it? You have people just living different lives. And at the end of the day, they're both good people, even though they have different beliefs.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful show, man. I love it. I mean, it pays, respects and homage to the original.
Yeah.
And then
plus Miguel's going to be the Blue Beater.
Okay, what? The Blue Beater?
The Blue Beetle, sorry. Yeah.
The Blue Beater. What are you, from Kentucky? Give us your thoughts on the new Black Adam trailer.
Yeah,
we
it
haven't seen
just popped up 7 minutes ago. I haven't been able to.
watched
Where
it.
we've talked to you guys.
Cannot wait to binge. Yeah, I'm excited. I give this episode 9 out of 10. Even for that one scene that Matt Smith did at the end without uttering one word. Right. Wasn't that intense, man?
Yeah.
It was so good. All right. Now we got to move on to the next show because we got a lot to talk about today. And that is drumroll, Amanda. What are we talking about?
The Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, episodes 1 and 2, since they both premiered at the same time.
And we didn't get to do an episode of this.
No, because I was at a cabin.
She was at cabin?
At a cabin
from the UK?
over the weekend. Worst experience of my life.
Okay, no, it wasn't.
And
what if the Queen's watching?
In heaven.
All right, there we go. Rings of Power, episodes 1 and 2. Holy crap. Again, spoilers in case you're watching this, or I'm sorry, listening to this and not watching it. One of the most expensive shows I've ever seen in my life is what I texted you.
In the history, well, it is the most expensive show. Like the amount of money the amount of money they use to purchase the rights to not all of Lord of the Rings. I don't think they purchased the rights to Silmarillion. Just to the Lord.
Well, there are aspects of the Silmarillion in here. Though.
Yes, there are aspects of it because I think you can't get away with telling the story of Morgoth or the Rise of Sauron without getting into the Silmarillion.
We got all kinds of representation in this show.
Yeah, it's bountiful.
So let's just go ahead and get that out of the way because that seems to be a lot of causing division within the fandom, right?
Yes.
Like I try to look at it from everybody's side of things, right? You have people that love the books, tattoos of the books, characters mean so much to them, love the movies, and then you have a show like The Ring of Powers come, you get excited, and then you see the casting. So there's this whole thing with like, they have black actors and they have, did you say is he really Puerto Rican?
I think he's talking about Arondir. Yeah, I think or he's half black, half Puerto Rican.
See, you have a lot of representation on the show that was not in Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit. So fans, purists of Tolkien fans, of course, are going to be like, hey, this doesn't make any sense because
why are
these characters were not around when The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings came. And of course, the opposite argument to that is it's a fantasy show, right? So these aren't real places. So they can add things like that in the past. Now,
it's like how George Washington's black in Hamilton.
Right.
I'm not kidding. But you know what
I mean, there's always a the elf. I thought the elf was Amanda, we got black people in Puerto Rico.
Okay, sorry. I was just saying
so I think that's where I see a lot of people arguing against representation for it. So what I have to do to watch this show is kind of take a step back and kind of review it on its own merit to see without going into all
without like should there be a black dwarf.
Yes, you can nerd out and be like, actually, how can these people still be around if in The Hobbit we don't see any black folks or Latino elves, right? You could say that.
We're in Lord of the Rings,
But then, man, people get into heated debates, and then I don't think you can still hate on that part and still not be a racist, right? Because I think that's what happens. Like you get labeled things like that if you think like that. So it's okay as long as you're not throwing out any derogatory terms or anything. Let's see. I was all for representation, but it doesn't change the fact that the characters were boring. So let's talk about this show because you know what? You're the Lord of the Rings lady. Take over. Okay. Give us a quick recap of the first 2 episodes.
Okay, first 2 episodes.
We'll talk about what they borrowed.
We're introduced to Galadriel right up front. Originally played by Cate Blanchett in the Lord of the Rings trilogies, and then later on in The Hobbit, which was a trilogy for some reason, which we still don't know why. And
oh Lord!
And when people are complaining, all I can think of is, wouldn't he be rolling in his grave over The Hobbit? Because those last couple.
I'm curious with Christopher Tolkien.
Because those last couple movies were not great.
Because Christopher Tolkien hated the Lord of the Rings.
Really, I love.
So
and everyone loved Lord of the Rings.
What he would think of this show. Christopher, his son, right?
Yeah, his son.
Who wrapped up the Silmarillion after he passed away.
Yes,
So, yeah.
exactly. So we start out with Galadriel in Valinor, where the elves originally came from, and she's a young girl. She does her natural voiceover narration, which is par for the course for a lot of Lord of the Rings productions, because she also is the original voiceover narration for the Fellowship of the Ring too, when they talked about the War of the Rings in the beginning, and she's the one doing the narration there as well. Galadriel, yes. Kate Blanchett, but Galadriel, yes.
Yeah, and now we have a new actress, a younger actress playing the role, which makes sense because
is it Morfit, I think is her name.
Oh, I'm not sure what her name is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so so obviously she's talking about a time where, the elves lived in Valinor, but then Morgoth came and pretty much brought evil, and they had to fight against Morgoth. So they left Valinor, headed to Middle Earth to fight Morgoth, and we get to see some epic battle scenes of the elves fighting orcs. We even see the eagles,
awesome,
fighting Morgoth and his armies as well. We are introduced to Sauron, his acolyte, which we all know becomes, Sauron in Lord of the Rings, and we get to see Galadriel, her brother passing away, Finrod.
Now, before he gives her a beautiful metaphor about what's the difference between a boat and a rock.
Yes, the metaphor about the boat and the rock.
Do you know what happens to a toad when it gets struck by lightning? Oh my gosh. Anyway, go ahead.
Anyway, so after her brother passes away at the hands of Sauron, she kind of picks up his mission to defeat Sauron as her own mission. And while Morgoth is defeated and he's no longer in power and he's gone away, she's still trying to find Sauron, and whatever remnants of Morgoth's army are still trying to follow him. So she's taking this band of warriors, and this spans a couple centuries of her searching for Sauron until it leads her to the last stronghold where he might possibly be. And it's in the northernmost waste. They get there, and, while there's a little bit of this, foreshadowing that there might still be some Sauron somewhere, her people are done following
her. Which is exactly what happens in Lord of the Rings, right? We hear about his shadow and the whisperings and the eye and
the Hobbit. They talked about it in the Hobbit.
They brought it into the Hobbit. He's like the devil character.
Morfydd Clark, that was her name,
yeah. In the Bible.
Yes.
Which is what the Silmarillion really was. It was like a creation of this world.
Yeah. It was their Bible.
Oh my gosh, that thing read like a freaking Bible. If you've never read it. Whew. Now, so they are borrowing elements of the Silmarillion. And of course,
but I have to reread the appendices, but maybe like just a brief overview of the Morgoth stuff was in the appendices. Because I think Taps Logic or someone up there has said that, they could only use the appendices to build the, not the Silmarillion, which is maybe why they've taken some liberties with some of the, where some of the characters are, like Galadriel, and the fact that she's a warrior who is not married to Celeborn yet, and is hunting for Morgoth or for Sauron, which she doesn't really, until the Rings of Power are created, it didn't really have a role in any of this. But it's, they can make what they can play with it a little bit, as long as
so within this show we have 4 different story arcs going, right?
So we have Galadriel, and of course Elrond's in there too. He's a herald of the High King Gilgalad. Gilgalad, sorry. We also have,
they're at the capital city
of Lindon, which is my daughter's name. So
adorable.
Adorable. And we also have a storyline of the Harfoots, which are one of the 3 Hobbit races,
right?
Ancestors. The Stores, the Falahades, and I think if I pronounced that correctly, and the Harfoots, which the Baggins, because my mom asked me this, the Baggins more descent and the Tooks more descended from the Falahades.
Right, because these people were living out in the woods.
Yeah.
And that's the way that Tolkien wrote them too, like the Half-Foots. They have more than just the appendices, which is why they're allowed to include Numenor. Okay. So that's what I thought, because there are aspects of the Silmarillion
that are in there. So there must be something else that and
so Josh, you and Hayden argue with each other.
Yes. Oh God, that's a good idea. We'll let you 2 guys fight it out.
You guys can fight it out.
Yeah, and we also have the storyline of in the Southlands, which is where the ancestors of the men who follow Morgoth are still there, and there are some elven warriors who are watching over them, and they have been for couple hundred years now. And while most of those people who were following Morgoth have died off, you know, to the elves, they're still the ancestors of these people. That belief can still be there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we're introduced to Arondir, who is one of the elvish warriors, and this female human healer named Bronwyn.
Human represents.
Who I'm assuming they have a relationship. I don't know if that's his kid, Theo, but it sure the heck looks like it could be his kid.
The elf guy?
Well, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm just putting two and two together.
I think you're fanficking already.
I might be fanficking already. But they clearly have feelings for each other. And
I think he wants to be
I think he wants to be. But after the events of what happens with Galadriel on top of the northernmost waste, the High King calls her back to Linden. And instead of punishing her, he was going to send her and her people, her warriors, back to the Undying Lands. So this is all definitely was not in, Galadriel's story, which they can, there's a lot of Galadriel's story I'm sure we don't see in a lot of the appendices and things like that. Mm-hmm. So she doesn't want to go back to the Undying Lands because she feels like there still is evil there, even if, and clearly there is, because we start to see that in the Southlands, which is where the elvish warrior Arondir is. Arondir, yes. And then we have the Harfoots, and Nori is a young little hobbit, or Harfoot. I guess they're not yet hobbits. She's cute. She is full of mischief and curious, like a took. But she's not a took.
Or a Baggins.
Or Baggins. Or like a Baggins. And she's very curious about the world. And her friend Poppy are the ones who stumble upon at the end of the first episode, there is like a falling star or meteor of some kind. Everyone sees it across the land, and it lands where the Harfoots have made their camp before they head on and move. And in the middle of that burning star or whatever had fallen from the sky is a man with a gray beard.
Yes, not Gandalf.
Not Gandalf. We don't know yet.
We don't know yet.
He's the stranger according to IMDb. So we don't know who he is. So the second episode pretty much is pretty much Nori trying to figure out who the stranger is. She nurses him back to health, essentially. He definitely has some magical powers. He interacts with fireflies and the earth, and he also took some of the fireflies' power, I think, or light.
I think he took their life source, right?
Yeah.
Because they were dead by the end. So he's an interesting character because we don't know exactly what he is. He could be a wizard. I don't think, honestly, we joked about it, but I don't think it would be Gandalf. He
could be a Istari, but
then again, they did recast Galadriel
and Elrond.
So anything is possible because wizards age differently.
They do,
and they really could make their own thing, like you mentioned to me earlier. They really could rewrite that history. Yeah. So those are your 4 different stories. Elrond goes and hangs out with the dwarves and visits them
in episode 2. Because Elrond gets tasked with working with Celebrimbor, who is the high elven smith, who, if you read any of the appendices or that he is one of the creators of, is this spoiling Lord of the Rings for anyone?
I assume most people here have seen Lord of the Rings, right?
He's the creator of the 3 elven rings, right? So that that Sauron helped him create when he disguised himself. So we know Celebrimbor is going to play a big important role later on. Elrond is helping him out with building this massive forge, but they have no help because the High King will not give them any additional resources. So Elrond decides to go to his friend Prince Durin, which we know is a descendant of like Thorin and all
the Oaken Shield,
all of our Gimli and the whole lines. And I did love this talk about salted pork, because who will forget about
the salted pork from the Hobbit?
Salted pork. No, remember it?
I got
Return of the King?
Yeah.
Okay. I love that salted pork line. Okay, sorry. I love Lord of the Rings a lot.
She does. As most people.
Yes.
There was more than one ring. Dang it, Josh, did you fall asleep through Lord of the Rings?
The beginning's part of the death.
That scene made me realize I haven't seen any fireflies all this summer. We actually caught some this summer, so
I have seen the fireflies. There are out there. Yes.
So we have Galadriel, and as a form of payment, because she's gone.
Yes, she sails
gone
to the
rogue and
Lands.
not listening to the Elf King.
Yes.
And they gave her a free ride to the Undying Lands, which I guess it's never really explained in the books what it's like, but you can assume it's heaven to them, maybe. It's what I've always taken, because it is such a beautiful way.
Yeah, it is, because that's where I think the Valar, which I guess are our angels, or for the one, right? They're hanging out there too, I believe. So yes, I think it is, and that's where Frodo goes at the end, the Undying Lands, and eventually Sam gets there.
And then we
too,
get that beautiful Into the West song. Oh,
okay,
Lord.
well, we're not talking about the we're not talking about we can talk about the trilogy all day long, but
all day.
Galadriel is on the ship and decides not to go at the last minute. So the rest of her crew sails to the Undying Lands. She jumps off, and now she's in the middle of the ocean.
She just jumps, man.
Just jumps with her.
While the rest of the elves are like, "Oh, we're passing over. What are you doing?"
With her brother's dagger, and as she's in the second episode, as she's swimming, she comes upon the wreckage of a ship. There are some survivors on there, including one man named Halbrand, who is carrying something around his neck.
Gandalf.
What it is, we don't know. No, I don't.
Or the Witch King.
But they get attacked by a sea monster.
Though that scene was awesome.
It was awesome.
The way it was filmed, like,
I guess they're
you see her underwater, and then you see the creature in the back just tearing the boat apart. Hey, sweetie, be careful, because there's a bunch of wires right there. You can keep playing. And then you see the camera go above water to see the creature. Oh, filmed great. Like, we're going to talk about this show and how much money was spent and the things that I did enjoy about it. And holy crap, that scene was great.
Yes. And, Halbrand kind of lets the rest of his compatriots, let them fend for themselves, but him and Galadriel are the ones left. He does end up saving her when she's struck by lightning, I think, later on. And he does save her. But, basically because she finds out from him that the enemy is in the Southlands and that he will take her to the enemy, because that's what she wants to do, is kill the orcs and find Sauron. So now these two are on a mission together for whatever that mission is going to be. And then we also learned, so the elves are supposed to leave the Southlands, but after that order was given, Arondir is going to talk to his lady love, and a gentleman comes to her and tells her that something's wrong with his cow. And the cow's udders are producing black goo of some kind.
I wouldn't drink that.
And neither would I.
I feel like I have in a third
So they
world
go
country.
to explore the source of the problem and find that another town has been completely just razed to the ground. And when they go there, there's tunnels that have been built underneath some of the buildings. So Arondir goes to explore this. Meanwhile, her son is in a barn and unearths a shards of a sword with the Sauron symbol on it.
Okay, so what do we think this sword is?
Here, I got the gift for that sword. Where's my gift?
You already got a gift.
Yeah,
wow,
where is
you
it?
are quick.
Sauron sword. There it is. Ooh. And then it takes his blood and it starts to form itself. And this happens at the end of the episode. But basically, what happens is he takes the shards of the sword, and this is as Bronwyn has convinced her people that they need to leave because something sinister is here, and they're all trying to leave and head out because Bronwyn and her son are attacked by a goblin. And of course, at the end of the episode, Arondir is also taken by something, an orc, a goblin. Some hands come out and grab him. So we don't know what will come of him for the next episode, episode 3. And so we know that's happening out there. Meanwhile, Elrond is at Khazad-dûm with Prince Durin. So for those of you who've watched Lord of the Rings and remember the fall of Khazad-dûm and the Balrog and everything like that, because they dug too deep. Nope.
I remember.
Yep, you remember? And so he's there, and Prince Durin doesn't give him the warm welcome he expected because 20 years have passed. And for Elrond, that's a blink of an eye. For Prince Durin, he had a whole life. He married, he had a couple of kids, and he just feels like, Elrond, if you're a friend, you didn't come to my wedding. You don't even know that.
Right, because time passes differently for elves and dwarves.
Yes, exactly.
So,
yeah, exactly. So he makes him go through this contest. Whoever can break enough stone till they get tired, and Elrond wins, surprisingly. And so him and Elrond, he finally has this conversation with Elrond. Elrond apologizes, wants to apologize to his wife. We meet Desia, his wife, who
does not have a full
she does not have
beard.
A full
I was really
beard.
disappointed
Yeah.
in that.
See a little bit of hair on her sides, but not.
You were pointing to your face.
No, but no.
You do. She's got some mutton chops, I think. Not Amanda, but the actress. No, you don't at all. The dwarf actress has mutton chops, but not a full beard like was described. But then again, this is in the past, so maybe facial hair was not good on lady dwarfs back then.
Someone said they explained it, but I didn't look at the article. Explain why she didn't have facial hair. I didn't read the article beforehand. So if someone did read that article, let me know. But she invites him to dinner, which is not what Prince Durin wants, but doesn't matter. So we have some great dialogue between all of them, and then finally Elrond does ask Prince Durin for help. And Prince Durin's kind of secretive, and we later find out he goes to his father, and he's like, "Did you tell him what we have down here?" And they open up a little box.
Oh,
and
yeah,
something
this is like a MacGuffin, right? Like,
is shining. I thought it was the Arkenstone.
You think it's the Arkenstone?
I think it's the Arkenstone.
Oh, I think
I thought Prince Durin's descendants had the Arkenstone, and that's where Thorn descended from. And
I think it's Marcellus Wallace's soul.
Okay, that's true.
Have you seen Pulp Fiction?
No.
Oh, you've not seen Pulp Fiction? Are you serious?
No.
I think that might be the biggest shock of all today. Well,
there we go. Anyways,
last couple hours. Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, somebody else. Tapsy Logic. See, exactly. Pulp Fiction. Arkenstone. I didn't even think about that. Maybe.
Well, it was shiny, like the Arkenstone from The Hobbit. So I assumed it would be.
Okay.
That is their great power, right? That's what helped.
I just remember the song.
Oh.
But I assume that's from the Great Power. Do you think they made a mistake with putting 2 episodes out at once instead of just the first one? So the first one goes and ends on a cool cliffhanger of her jumping off the boat.
Yeah.
In episode 2, you're just more talking, which in all fairness, Lord of the Rings is a lot of that. Lord of the Rings is a lot of walking and talking.
The books and a lot of singing.
And the movies.
A lot of singing,
and the movies, too.
Not the movies so much.
Well, the movies is a lot of walking and talking.
Yeah, I mean, but
yes, it's cut
with
amazing
with action
scenes.
And it's only 2, at most 2.5 hours, and so they have to condense it so every dialogue has to be very poignant, right? In the movies, which they did a really good job in the screenplays of the movies of pulling out. I don't know so much about The Hobbit, but Lord of the Rings, they really pulled the dialogue from those books, which again. Rings of Power, there's no dialogue to pull from, right? You're basing it off of appendices that is just history book. So they're building all of this from a history book, essentially. Creating dialogue.
Isn't that the way that they're building, what's it called too, though? Game of Thrones?
Yeah, and that's how they're building Game of Thrones too. That's essentially how they have to build Game of Thrones too.
Both prequels, both.
They're based off of like history books with that don't have dialogue and drama in them, right?
Have you met these 2 nerds? Of course we did.
Yeah, we caught the end
cameo. Yeah. Come on. Wasn't even a cameo though. Fun fact: Robert Aramayo, who betrays what's his name? Aramayo.
Yeah.
Betrays the second age Elrond. Also acted as a young. Yeah, that's right. He was Ned Stark in that episode 6
at the Tower of Joy. Yeah.
Yeah. Scene where him and his men were rescuing his sister.
Yes. Yeah. I'm a big fan of I've become a big fan of these young.
He looks like the little dude in Legend. Every time I see him with his ears, I think of that little dude in Legend. Who? Here's a fun fact for you, Bert. I had a crush on because I thought it was a little chick when I was a kid. Then it turned out to be a dude.
You really did think that. Yeah.
I really thought him and Atreyu from Neverending Story were chicks. Because in Peru, we got them. Do not make fun of me, Roberto Rodriguez, because I know you're going to. Because we got them translated. They were dubbed in English, but translated at the bottom in Spanish. What's happening? What's going on?
I'm trying to figure out how you think
You're breaking the entire computer. Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe that was not a fun fact. But was there anything else you wanted to talk about? Like, we talked about the 4 different characters and their kind of like their story arcs.
Yeah, and where things are starting to head. Yeah, I don't think it was a mistake for putting out the first 2 episodes. I think they might have been I think they really wanted to let people see how they were building out the universe. And the first episode, we don't get to see the dwarves, for example. And for me, once we were in Khazad-dûm, that to me, of all those things we've seen so far, that felt the most Lord of the Rings like the gentleman. Owen, is it Owen? I think is his name. Arthur, maybe, who plays, I don't remember the actor's name, who plays Prince Durin. He just felt like he came out of he's a descendant of Gimli. I see where Gimli or someone would have been descended from him. He just reminds me very much of, they're very much on point of the characterization. where I feel like sometimes, like I was talking to Omar about the elves, and I was like, they feel so human to me. But in like the in the books they come off as so ethereal, and even in the movies they come out they have human emotions, obviously, because Arwen falling in love with and they build friendships between Legolas and Gimli, etc. But there's still like this aura about them, and I wasn't getting that from them, right?
Okay, so there are a lot of differences in this, and I guess to me this would get a pass, or it gets a little bit of a pass because we are talking about a couple thousand years before The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings.
Yes. So the world's different.
The world is different. Relationships are different. This is still when elves and men are sort of like, but by the time you get to the Lord of the Rings, it's like a big no. Like the elves are leaving the world.
Ditto with the dwarves too.
The third age, right? We're looking at the second age because the Silmarillion was really the first age.
Yeah,
and that is the formation of the land and everything, and the coming of Morgoth, and then the angels and Gandalf's thrown in there, and yeah, it's really, it was. I remember having a difficult time reading that book.
Yeah,
but so maybe the way they talk is different. It is really weird to hear them have a lot of humans. Like, my issue was with Galadriel. Like, Galadriel going after Sauron didn't seem not only like a Galadriel thing to do, but a elf thing to do.
because there are a lot of revenge.
Seeking revenge for your brother doesn't seem like the push to go and seek out Sauron. Like, it just didn't make sense to me. Like,
if they're trying to give her more agency as the elven princess that she is, I think there was other ways they could have done it. But yeah, I guess Galadriel was the only one. Elrond seems, his characterization and everything seems to kind of fit with the Elrond we'll see later on.
Mm-hmm.
I think the gentleman who plays Celebrimbor is does what he needs to do. I love the actor who plays Prince Durin, and I even love his wife. She's very hardy, as I imagine a dwarf wife to be. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's very hardy. And all the actors who play the Harfoots, I think that they really embody this more of a ancient type of hobbit before they become the well-to-do hobbits that we are used to seeing in the Shire, right? And what they would eventually become after many years of breeding, because this is like 1,000 years before like the Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, right? So there's a lot of breeding that goes on between the hobbits groups when they all form the Hobbiton and the Shire, etc., and they all migrate over the Misty Mountains. And so
it just, whenever you mention hobbits, my family spent we spent a couple of weeks in Spain, and we went to the Basque country of Spain, and the Basque people of Spain remind me of hobbits in the way they really.
She was going to tell you about the Basque people of Spain.
Okay, but it's really cool to like, we were eating inside of like a basement, like the way that hobbits would, fellowship and stuff. I thought that was really cool.
That is really cool.
So Tolkien said himself, he made a point of including mysteries that were never meant to be solved or explained. Entwives and Tom.
Yeah, I agree.
Tom Bombadil is the stranger. Tom Bombadilio is going to come in and start singing.
Oh, is that going to be
what I was saying.
Is he going to be Tom Bombadil?
Oh, yeah, because everybody wanted Tom Bombadil in the stupid movie, except for me. Keep that hippie out of my movies.
I was okay with Tom Bombadil not being in the movie.
Yes, I said what I said. I think by the time season 5 rolls around, Galadriel and Elrond will be more like the characters we know in the Third Age. Something like big shakes up their lives, maybe,
and changes. Oh, because I'm assuming they're going to have to keep with their story arcs where Elrond marries Galadriel's daughter, which then begets Arwen, right? Galadriel should meet Celeborn at some point. End up in Lothlorien. Mm-hmm. So she ends up getting one of the Rings of Power. We know that because Gilgalad has got 2, and he gives one to Elrond and one to, is it Sindarin, I think? Círdan, sorry. And so we know she has to get to that point, but right now she's I'm curious about where we're at in terms of the age of the Second Age and how far we are from Sauron.
You mean like
rising to power? Yeah, I know we'll get a Sealador. I know that I've read that he will come about. And
I don't know what to expect from the show because they're doing their own thing too. Celebrum.
Celebrimbor.
Okay, yeah. Thank you. Hasn't even had the giant forge built yet.
Right, that's what
Let alone started to make the Rings of Power. It makes me wonder how many seasons that's going to span. I mean, the ending very well could be
the forge being built.
The forging of the rings, though.
Well, it's 5 seasons, though.
Oh, so it's a done deal.
Yeah, it's
There's
5
no way
seasons.
the show gets canceled.
Well, I mean, that's true too, but I think Amazon will see it through. I mean, by the end of this 5 seasons, I think they're reported at being maybe like $1 billion total spent on this show, if not more. So it's
I remember you and I talking about the show 3 years ago.
Yeah, about how expensive they to purchase.
2018, 2019, you and I had a video about like the coming of the show.
Tolkien estate is very rich.
Official rebuttal to the Eagles didn't carry the ring the Mountain Dew. Shut up. That's an amazing interview. Shut up, nerd.
They couldn't carry. Okay.
With Bezos himself funding the show, the chances of getting multiple seasons are high.
That's what I was
Aren't his kids
too.
like huge fans of Lord of the Rings?
Yeah, they are. His kids are huge fans of Lord of the Rings. It's Bezos. It's not like he doesn't have extra money lying around. I'm still buying stuff off of Prime. So
then you're funding the show.
I mean,
the most unbelievable thing about Era, the elf is the hairline.
Have you seen Elrond's
such a tightly manicured hairline?
Did you see Elrond's hairline in the actual Lord of the Rings?
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
but that was Hugo Weaving's hairline. Though, right?
I know, but Hugo had a tight hairline too, a tight receding hairline also.
They start filming season 2 next month. This is exciting. I'm excited for long fantasy shows because it's a fantasy show, right? The Eagles are busy. Nice.
I love seeing the Eagles. Every time the Eagles show up, it makes me happy. So I was glad to see the Eagles in that.
The band? Oh, the Eagles.
No, not the band. Okay. No, I was happy to see the Eagles show up in that first opener.
Dude, they got fried though. The Eagles got fried.
But it was nice to see them still fighting the good fight in Middle Earth. So
Sun specifically told them not to F it up. $60 million an episode.
Yeah, it's an expensive freaking show.
How many episodes is there in season 1?
Oh yeah, now you asked me that and I look it up.
The one thing you didn't look up.
I know.
You looked up like all these names and how to pronounce them, you nerd. Like Celebrimbor.
I listened to them say it in the show. I didn't have to look it up.
Yeah, but even in the show they mispronounce it, right?
Yeah.
10 episodes.
8 episodes.
8 episodes per season.
Which that's not bad. 8 episodes, 5 seasons, 8 times 5
all right,
is 40.
so let's talk about. Let's start wrapping up. Let's talk about the things we did not like about the show.
Okay.
Ladies first. What did you not like about the show?
So for start, it's I know it's Lord of the Rings. It's a little slow moving at the start of it. There are a lot of storylines going on. I'm not particularly a fan of the Southland storyline right now.
The elf and the human.
The elf and the human.
Yeah.
It's one of those that, I'm just waiting for the next thing to happen for a next storyline.
Mm-hmm.
And I know they're trying to tie all these things together to what's happening in a greater, there's something greater going on, right? In Middle Earth, they're trying to tie all these storylines together. So I know that'll take a few episodes, but it's a little slow for me to start. I'm not really quite sure about Galadriel's characterization right now. If I feel like it's really consistent with what I know, characters have to grow when she's young, but there are also elves that are immortal, and elves are different than men. So I'll be interested to see how she progresses throughout the season and how that changes, for example, because like Elrond, his character acts way more of what I expect like a elf to act than her character does.
Mm-hmm.
And she is like, we saw her in Lord of the Rings. She has that magical essence about her, right? You'll have a queen, not dark, but beautiful. And okay, so I'm just saying.
Okay, that scene really took me out of that movie, though. Like,
well, it was okay. But
it was so. It was just so over the top, and I like Kate Blanchett, and I love the Lord of the Rings movies. It was so over the top. It didn't make any sense for her to. That. You do? Okay.
But I love the
it's just me.
Delivery. Anyway.
It wasn't even CG. I think they just switched the lighting, right?
They
the
did.
Color palette.
Yeah,
that's all they did. So negative. Okay. What else did you not like about this?
I think
because you're a huge Lord of the Rings.
I'm a huge Lord of the Rings
People
fan.
Don't know how big of a dork you are.
Yeah, I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan. So
yeah.
And I try to take away, like, they're gonna change things obviously from some of the books and from the appendices, right? They make things their own, and and you have to accept that. So I'm not really basing it off my thoughts off of that. I think it's just right now, I'm not not all of the characters hit it for me. Not all the actors really hit the right notes. A few of them do. Like I said, by episode 2, Prince Durin, I really thought that the dwarves, I really enjoyed them. The Harfoots, kind of a little too zany for me, maybe, as these, carefree little hobbits. But I do like Nori because I think she represents, that wonderment and curiosity that we later see in future generations of hobbits, right? That's the whole idea.
In Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, we, the audience, experience this adventure through the eyes of the hobbits.
Yeah, exactly.
Even though they're done in chapter breaks and stuff like that.
Yeah, but and I think that's what's so different about this show is we're experiencing it through everyone's eyes and not just through the eyes of these characters that never were outside of the world, right? Which is the hobbits. We're experiencing the characters who are in the world. And I think that's just takes a little bit getting used to, because for me, it's hard. Like I said, the elves to me are these ethereal beings that aren't human, but they're trying to create drama by giving them more human elements of revenge and young Galadriel being a little boy up because he was being mean to her and being a bully, right? Like there's these elements that I wouldn't expect them to present that are showing themselves in the show itself. And that takes me out of it a little bit, I think, for me. And then, like I said, the Southlands, it's starting to get good, maybe with this dark evil in the backstory that that's where Sauron's hiding out, is in the Southlands with the orcs. And his character that he pretends to be later on to help forge the rings, maybe that's where he's going to show up at.
He's going to wear a Scooby-Doo outfit,
he's supposed to, he disguised himself as that guy that
there were some things I didn't like about the show.
What did you not like?
So I was serious when the show started. I was like, oh crap, here we go with the horrible metaphor when Galadriel as a kid is building a little paper boat. The boat goes on the water, the kids go and sink it, and her brother comes and is like, do you know the difference between a boat and a rock, Galadriel? And I rolled my eyes what? Of course she does. Most kids her age know the difference between a rock and a boat. But please do go on and teach us a metaphor that will come to play later on, maybe at the end of this season or episode.
Yes.
And that's exactly what happened. So, he's like, well, let me tell you, the rock doesn't, it's something stupid about the light and the darkness. And I'm like, and then we don't hear what he says. And I'm like, well, that's coming to play later on. Obvious pandering and
because he does say it later on. Yeah, exactly.
And it is slow.
Yeah.
It's a slow show.
The dialogue is a lot of exposition too. And maybe that's what it is about it.
And the problem with a show that's slow, that's broken up, and you're breaking the characters up, is that you have the time to develop these characters,
which is great,
but there's not a likable character.
Yeah.
And a lot of that has to do with the dialogue. Like I really do, I think Brandy, I'm sorry, not Brandy. Who's the Harfoot?
Nori.
I think she's the one that I'm gonna be like, okay, she's obviously the breakout. She's great.
Yes.
Because I don't know, because there is that sense of wonderment that you're talking about. But I'm waiting for that to happen, right? Yeah. I'm waiting for that to happen. It just hasn't happened yet. I find the elf and the human lady story really boring. Holy crap.
Yeah.
There were times that
I mean, I know that Orlando Bloom can be a little wooden when he delivers his lines Legolas, but
and that's the way I expect elves to act.
Yeah.
I do appreciate that they are acting differently. The dwarves are acting different than elves.
Which
like
they
that,
should.
That is a good direction to go.
But that's why I like the dwarf part the most, because how in tune it was. They were just so,
So it is slow, and there's not that many great action sequences outside of the beginning of the first episode.
Yeah, not yet. No.
And the snow
troll
was pretty cool.
That was pretty
Reminds
cool.
me of the troll, the cave troll. And I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it because I'm not connecting with any of the characters. We're 2 episodes in, and each episode is almost an hour long.
Yes.
Yeah, I will say the freaking designs. This is what gorgeous. I was telling you. The designs of the orcs and the goblins. Holy crap! They have never looked that amazing.
Yeah.
I think the issue is this is based on Tolkien's story, which every other fantasy is too. So now it's fighting against others. That's true. And I mean, Lord of the Rings was kind of boring as well too. But I enjoyed the journey because I got to like the characters.
Yes.
You got to see how badass Aragorn was. But they were together, right? Where these characters are apart and maybe come together later, but you don't know these characters because
some of them are characters that were made just for the project, and then others are characters we know before, but they're different than what we knew them as.
Yeah. So like I said, I don't have a problem with everything they've changed. They're doing their own thing. Much like every comic book adaptation that I see, I'm okay with that. It is his own thing, and I still have the comics or the books to go back to if I want to. I do want it to tie into the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit movies, though, and it feels like even this is different than that, but we'll see where this takes us.
Yeah.
So those are my biggest issues that I have.
Yeah. With it. I think if they could sharpen the dialogue, and I know it's hard because they don't have, Tolkien's a wonderful writer. I mean, and it's hard to recreate his writing. And he had some great lines that people.
The dialogue is bad.
Yeah, it's just and I think that's why you can't have a standout character, or really give those actors if they can't, deliver a good dialogue. It makes
Greetings from Paris. It's 2:40 a.m. here.
Oh
right.
Wow,
that's a true fan. I think what they need is a Gimli, right? Like a comic relief.
Yeah,
which is crazy because it feels like after watching She-Hulk and things like that, people are going to tear up if they even attempt some kind of comedy. Like, oh, look at this.
But they always had like a little, but
people forget.
People
forget.
Though. I know, but
it's been so long.
Even Game of Thrones had some comedy.
Did it?
They had some
Game of Thrones.
Yeah, the movie.
Like Podrick.
Yeah,
that joke about
I mean, like, there's, some
They're taking the hobbits to Isaac. Oh, do so many classic lines. So many classic lines. But do you know what happened?
So many classic speeches. I mean, Sam's speech, "There's good in this world, Mr. Frodo, and it's worth fighting for."
Stop it. Don't make me cry. Don't make me cry.
It's hard because this has been around for a long time, longer than the Game of Thrones. Obviously the fandom, the books.
I mean,
it's been in the Zeitgeist for God knows how long.
Without Lord of the Rings, there would be no Game of Thrones.
No, there would be no Game of Thrones. That's what a lot of people have to remember. It's, Game of Thrones can be because of this. So many fantasy things can be because of Lord of the Rings, right?
Is it Weta? Is that who it was? Weta Designs. That's what it was.
Weta Designs, yeah.
Oh, they're still around. Cool.
Yeah.
Man, I'm honestly curious.
I don't know
how they'll do Sauron pretend to be an elf in order to have.
I don't know. I don't know how they're gonna do it. I mean,
I hope they change it up.
Because I think what'll happen is we as the audience, one way or the other, will have to know. Because if they name him the same name they give him, and can't remember the name, it's like Anuware or something like that. If he has the same name, it shows up randomly in one of the seasons. If you read the Lord of the Rings appendices or know about the story, right? Everyone will know instantaneously. So I don't think there's any way they're going to be able to hide that from us. From the characters, yes. Us, no.
I don't mind characters from different sci-fi, fantasy, and comic book films and TV show franchise changing as long as they stick to the core of who the character are. Absolutely. Tolkien was prolifically well-read linguist. Yes, he was. It's what he did before writing this. I mean, writing was not what he did, right? Like, he was a professor.
He created the whole Elvish language, which I'm so mad. Duolingo has High Valyrian, but you can't learn Elvish. I'm just really disappointed.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Yep.
So he had a profound well to draw from. Oh, absolutely.
Anatar, that's his name. Yeah. So if
everything Sam
they give
says
him that name,
is iconic.
That's true. Yeah.
I may not be able to carry it, but I can carry you. Oh, screw me with a rusty nail, man. That line gets me every time. Tolkien created fantasy. Lucas created space fantasy. Yes, my cousin Paul. His name is Paul,
nice.
Was the scenic manager for the Rings of Power. That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Dude, holy crap, where have you been, dude?
Oh my gosh, Leo, where have you been?
In my head, Leo, you got yourself a girlfriend. You were like, I'm done watching these fools. I got me a chick now. I'm out. No more nerd Friday nights. Well, it's good to see you, buddy.
Yes, it's good to see you.
And I see this show, and I know what's going on with the show. Well, good. I'm glad that you know what's going on, buddy.
Yes.
It's good to see you. Didn't he translate some old poems as well?
Yeah.
He did. And keep in mind, when he was writing The Lord of the Rings, too, we forget, he was writing practically what he saw in the backyard, right? It's not like he traveled the world to write about these characters.
They made a movie about him, and the young Beast played him in the movie, Nicholas Hoult.
It's like a Christian movie too.
Yeah, it
wasn't
was like yeah.
It's Christian.
And
I saw it.
Lily Collins played his wife.
My college had Vulcan and Elvish.
Lucky. I would love to learn Elvish.
Leo is because somebody else is freaking out about Leo. Tolkien was 47 when he.
Yeah.
It's never too late.
I know.
Even if you're only,
it was World War One or World War II.
Yeah,
World War One that influenced.
Just remember that it's never too late if you ever want to write something, even if you're just a couple
or
of
sing something,
right?
Or become an influencer, or a
absolutely.
YouTube star,
YouTube megastar.
Yeah,
megastar.
Never too late.
Never too late. Even if you're just a few years shy of 47.
Just a few years shy of that.
I'm back. That's right, baby. You get a gift. You get a gift.
But
for that.
it is beautifully made. I know they couldn't film it.
Here's your gift. Welcome back, Leo.
I know they couldn't film and they didn't film in New Zealand for this, right?
No, they did
which
not.
Is a disappointment.
Film. You can tell.
Yeah.
Mushroom potatoes.
Boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew.
Look at you, man. Did anyone see the Luthien Easter egg? No. What?
No, I didn't see.
I was looking for some Easter eggs.
I was looking I was like, what about Baron and Luthien? And that's why Finrod's death, because I know he actually dies. Trying to help Baron get away. Anyways, it was but they could change the history. That's fine.
Yeah. All right. For anybody that has seen this and you at home later, if you want to comment, what would you give the Rings of Powers episodes 1 and 2 out of 10?
I would give it a 7.
Ladies first.
7 out of 10 so far.
7 out of 10. Really?
I
was hoping you'd give it higher.
No, I'm hoping that there will be a standout. It's just the pace needs to quicken a little bit. It'll be nice to see some of the stories start to intertwine more.
I'm with you. I'm surprised. I thought I was going to rate it lower than you. I think a 7 was my vote. I thought it's probably one of the most beautiful shows I've seen. I will give it that.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
And it keeps me watching it because holy crap, it's beautiful. Like the designs, the freaking practical effects. Yeah. I like that.
And even the music is beautiful in it too. I mean, it's not Howard Shore, but it's so beautiful.
Do y'all know how lucky we are? It's crazy that we are living in a time where there are 2 shows right now.
Fantasy
epics.
With huge budgets.
Oh my gosh, the budgets are huge. Dragons and settings, actual sets are being built, creating jobs for people. I love it. So
it is good. Yeah.
Whether you like this show or Game of Thrones, it's just wonderful to live in this time.
Yeah.
6.5 out of 10, 6.5, 7.5, 9 out of 9. Oh, nice. Hayden really likes the show.
Yes, he
7
does.
from my buddy Leo. 8 out of 10. Just love the world. It is a beautiful
Josh is
world.
Out. 4 out of 10.
Josh needs to be.
Leo, you keep changing your rating.
Leave Leo alone. He's back. 7 out of 10. Tunneling Rat Orc. I liked it. Don't love it. 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10. Good, not great. And it's the first 2 episodes. It could get a lot better.
Exactly.
Really enjoying the setup. 8 out of 10. Love the scenes with Elrond and Durin. 7 out of 10. I enjoyed the slow pace, but I really didn't care for Galadriel's. Right, that was another one that was a bummer. I wanted to like it.
Yeah.
Look, Project Mike is just going on.
Pints? I'm getting one.
Getting Willow soon. Oh, dude, Willow.
No, December, right?
Willow. I can't. Willow. Cobra Kai and Willow. 8 out of 10.
Imagine what Willow look like with the Disney budget now instead of
well, I hope they don't cheapen it, right? Because it could go She-Hulk.
Apparently the Pinocchio
She-Hulk.
CGI.
Oh no, don't say that.
Pinocchio CGI.
Is Ron Howard attached to it or
no,
George Lucas?
No, Robert Zemeckis. No, there's no.
No, not Pinocchio. Willow.
Good question. I don't know. I have to look it up.
We'll look that up for next time. Yep. 5.9 from Bill. 7.
We'll keep watching. Yeah, I'm going to keep watching because it's Lord of the Rings. I mean, it's Lord of the Rings. And just to be in the world again.
Yeah.
And get something new from that world. Watching it, I was like, oh, I want to pick up. I was like, maybe I should pick up the Silmarillion and read it and just make sure. Which I started reading. I was like, all right, here we are at the beginning with the one and Melkor. And I was like, no, okay, maybe not. Maybe not. I'm not going to read it.
I picked it up in the summer when
maybe I'll audiobook it. Yeah.
If it's what is his name? Roy D. Treese, the guy that read Game of Thrones or the Song of Ice and Fire. That guy's phenomenal.
Yeah.
You can do over 107 voices. He's amazing.
I like the guy who does the audiobooks for Harry Potter too. I don't remember the gentleman's name, but he's
Jim
phenomenal.
Carrey?
No. The guy who does Harry Potter is
I like his Hermione voice. To be honest, I'm just happy to be able to dive into Middle Earth. It is
Yeah.
nice to go.
It's nice to be in
back
Middle
to
Earth.
these places. Get the audiobook is what Griffin
Yeah,
said.
that's what I'm gonna do.
If it had a lot of to live up to, considering the original 3 movies are in the top 14 movies, and rightly so.
Yeah, people put those movies.
Look
on
at
their
Leo
list.
using slang like I'm bouncing off. Nice.
Bye, Leo.
See, hey, come back. Come back.
Come back and see us.
And speaking of coming back, when are we coming back, Amanda?
Oh, now you're gonna ask me that. That's a great question.
I'll
Probably.
text you.
You're gonna text me right now.
Yeah, sorry about that. Sorry, I'm putting you on the spot.
Well, we'll definitely record. We'll be able to be back for another live starting next Friday for sure.
So yeah, so what do you want to do? Do you want to do like a review recap? Because or do you want to review like
we still do a we're doing this on air in front of everyone, but House of the Dragon, we can still do a
You guys okay? This is how we meet.
We could do a oh yeah, James, I did see that Jodie Comer was rumored to be playing Sue Storm.
Who's Jodie Comer?
You saw The Last Duel, right?
Oh, excellent.
Girl.
That movie was excellent.
Yes, her. She also was in she's also the main character in Ryan Reynolds' Free Guy, and she's delightful in that. Her little character in that as well. So she would be a great.
We may not be able to do Sunday live streams, but maybe we can record the episode a little bit closer.
Unfortunately, my kid is back in school, so we have bedtimes now. So it makes it difficult.
We have bedtimes too,
and
so we will figure it out and let you all know through social media. But for sure, we are going to come back next Friday.
Yeah, next Friday for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
We'll probably
and we'll do some review roundups or something. But I mean,
unless D23 announces something insane,
then you and I, no matter where you are on a plane or wherever,
I will be on a plane tomorrow night, but we'll
oh yeah, Saturday. You're gonna
well, I might have to jump on the Saturday stream just so we can talk about. Oh wait, it happens at 1:00.
We'll create our own stream.
We'll create our own stream after the fact so we can talk about it.
Omar, quick question on Saturday stream. Are you gonna have news for Uncanny X-Men 5 content? Not yet. I'll remind David of that. Right now we're working. He and his team are working on trying to push out these Omnis for this October, because things have been a mess. As you all know, we only got one omnibus in September, and that's Uncanny. So
Uncanny indeed.
He's trying to get at least 14 books out in October. Unfortunately, they have to be in 2 weeks only, because that's the way manufacturing and distribution works. It's weird. Streams on a plane. Yeah, that's right. We're streaming on a plane.
If I can get that
Wi-Fi on Discord now, you can have a watch party. We could have a watch party. Maybe we'll do that as far as like our Patreon or something at a later time. But at this moment, I just want to thank everybody for being here. I want to thank my co-host for making time to come here. I know she's busy, and yeah, it's all she makes this a lot of fun, and you all make this a lot of fun. And it's good to see faces like Leo in the chat.
Yeah, if you're still on, which you're not, probably.
He's gone. He's with his girl. He's like, I'm with my lady.
He's grown up.
I'm with my lady friend.
Too good for us now.
Sorry, guys. You nerds keep talking about your orcs and your goblins.
Yes.
Who
doesn't want to talk about orcs and goblins?
All right, Panda.
Signs off.
Do your thing.
Awesome. So thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. And remember to follow us on all of our social media channels at NeoMintCon. Remember to check us out on Spreadshop for some great Near Make Edition merchandise. And also check us out on Patreon. For $1 a month or more, you can support us in all that we do here for you on this channel. And then finally, if it's classy and cool, it must be Near Mint. Good evening, everyone. Good journey. And we will see you all soon.
See you guys tomorrow.